Hi folks, this is CNB. I'm Siddharth Vinayak Patnankar. Last week on the program, we showed you a car that's soon coming to the market, the MPV Enjoy from General Motors. And this week, we've got another vehicle that will be driving into the Indian market pretty soon. That is the Mercedes-Benz A-Class. Now, we had our first impression at the time of the global launch a few months ago. Now we have more details. Bala has had the chance to drive the car in Germany to tell you what's coming to India.
Now, Mercedes considers the A in the A-Class to stand for attack, and we have managed to get behind the wheel of this beauty just a month before its launch in the Indian market. Now, all of you want to know which will be the model that will hit Indian roads. It will be the A180, which will be offered both in petrol as well as diesel, but interestingly both automatics, which will make it interesting for Mercedes and make it more tight for Mercedes to keep this entry-level hatchback below the 20 lakh segment. Now let's just find out if this drives as well as it looks.
Getting fitter, trimmer and adding some muscle, the third generation A-Class is not only looking younger, but has also given Mercedes-Benz access to a whole segment of younger customers in Europe. The company calls the A-Class launch last year the most successful ever in its history, and the car was also the runner-up to the Volkswagen Golf for the World Car of the Year 2013. But in India, the story might be a little slower as it is betting on the emerging affluent young car buyer who might now consider owning a Mercedes-Benz.
Now, the first thing that really hits you or maybe doesn't is about how quiet the A-Class cabin is. The 1.6 litre petrol engine is very, very quiet. There is no wind noise coming from outside. It's a very, very quiet cabin. The driving position is very low, in tune with the sportiness that Mercedes wants to give the young drivers of the A-Class. Also importantly, the drive itself is more refined than sporty, I would say. I was expecting, given that it was looking very sporty, the drive would be equally sporty, but it's been a little disappointing in that front.
But that doesn't mean that there's no fun driving on this front-wheel drive. The steering is precise and light, and the car is agile and steady, even while cruising at high speeds. The suspension feels too hard even on the smooth German tarmac, but do expect that to be tuned to Indian road conditions when it is launched. But you do get the solid Mercedes-Benz feel on the A-Class with solid build quality both on the outside and the inside. After having driven the petrol engine for almost an entire day, it was time for us to check out the diesel A180.
I have to admit that driving the diesel variant of the A180 clearly is much more fun and a lot more sportier than the petrol variant. It is a little bit noisier than the petrol variant, but nothing that will really bother you. And I really see a lot of Indian car buyers opting for the diesel variant, given that it's much more sportier and more fun to drive than the petrol variant.
So here are the specs of the models currently on sale in the European market. And yes, we expect that Mercedes might fine-tune all of this a bit for India. The petrol again, and you will find these figures as more than ample for a car this size. It does 0 to 100 in 9.1 seconds, by the way, and it has a top speed of 202 kilometers an hour. The diesel next, and here you can see that ample torque that we were mentioning earlier, which adds to the overall sense of driving agility. Top speed though is a tad lower at 190 kilometers per hour, and 0 to 100 takes 10.6 seconds in this case.
Now, where the A-Star really becomes an A-Star class is clearly in the design department, and full credit to the Mercedes designers who've come up with this aggressive and sporty design to the A-Class, which becomes really important, especially when you're looking to open up a new segment of car buyers, especially young, who are looking for these kind of designs. So clearly there is no doubt as the buyer comes into the showroom, he will really be appealed by the kind of design the A-Class offers.
Any memories of the older A-Class will be erased with just one look at the new third generation model. The aerodynamic and sporty design makes a good impression, especially from the front and the side. After all, it is 487mm longer and 163mm shorter than its predecessor. What also stands out well as you see it drive past is the eyebrow designed LED running lights above the headlines. And yes, from the back it looks equally sporty with a distinct wide stance.
What is really pleasing to see is the kind of seamless integration of the sporty feel that you saw on the outside coming into the cabin. Really, you have the kind of sporty large seats for the driver, the low seating position giving you the driver the kind of sports car feel that you want. The dashboard is clean and really speaks of a lot of Mercedes style styling with the chrome air vents. You have these good quality plastics here available. All really the features that you would normally associate in a luxury car is available on the A-Class as well.
Besides the metal and the leather inside, the A180 does come loaded with interior features like a multi-function display in the instrument panel, a 5.8-inch tablet-style display and other optional add-ons. The A180 sold in Europe currently comes standard with 15-inch steel wheels, and it has driver aids like attention assist and collision prevention assist. The 341-litre boot is just about sufficient for its size, but it certainly deceives you with the space it promises to offer when the hatch is closed. In its attempt to make a driver's car, Mercedes-Benz almost seems to have forgotten the backseat passenger. Headroom and legroom are a bit tight for an average-sized person, and it could worry a few buyers in India. Now it is confirmed that the official launch of the A-Class will be on the 30th of May, and the price is expected to be around 23 to 24 lakh rupees. Many expected this premium hatchback to be offered under 20 lakh rupees, and a higher price tag does mean that Mercedes will have to really convince its potential new younger customers that the A-Class package is well worth the money spent. Not an easy proposition in this current highly competitive market. So we expect some aggressive offers on service and finance packages offered with this car to be the bait that the buyers might take.
Now last year, remember, the B-Class, which is the A-Class's sibling, actually was the first ever car to be awarded a new category at our CNB Awards. That's the Entry Luxury Car of the Year. Now that's a space that's looking pretty hot in India, isn't it? The A-Class will join that, and then there's another car we showed you a few months ago. In fact, it was a big scoop, a big exclusive for CNB, that will also join that space. Well, we wanted to do a bit of a refresher on this. This is the V40 Cross Country from Volvo. Some of you wanted to see that story again, so here is that CNB exclusive once again. Volvo has been struggling to gain a foothold in India and is a distant number 4 in the Indian luxury car market. But with this car, Volvo hopes to make waves and capture some volumes at the same time. The V40 Cross Country is the butch avatar of the V40 station wagon. While the V40 debuted a year ago at the 2012 Geneva Motor Show, the Cross Country variant was shown at the Paris Motor Show and has now started rolling out in European markets. The V40 Cross Country adds a little attitude to the plain V40. It's certainly smart and has a tough look, courtesy not just the skid plates at the front and rear, but also the extra plastic cladding that's been thrown around. Like all Volvos, this one's loaded with lots of safety gear, and so you've got the inbuilt radar system back here in the grille. But otherwise, in terms of styling, the big Volvo logo and the looks that pretty much tell you that it's the new design language from the family. So a little bit of the inbuilt LED daytime running lights. In front though, the bumper, that's the section where you can see it's got this black cladding that's been thrown in. gives it a little bit of a sporty appeal, and that's where the cross-country part comes in, because the regular V40, well, it doesn't have any of those sections. It's all body colored, and it's a lot more saloon-like in its styling. You do see that cladding pop up here on the side as well. It gives it a rugged look, and it's also perhaps a little practical from especially the Indian viewpoint. Roof rails here also add to the sporty element. The panoramic roof, again, a nice little touch, gives it a bit of a high-end feel as well. At the back, again, typical Volvo styling territory. Looks a little bit like the C30, but yes, it reminds you of the XC60 in particular, just like the face does. But this is the section which I think is nice. It's young, it's sporty, it's very different. Doesn't look station wagon-like as a result of what's been done here. The whole tailgate just sort of moves up a little bit. You don't see the typical door clamp. It's all nicely hidden away inside. Big Volvo lettering at the back. And again, the black cladding, the plastic bit shows up in the rear bumper as well. And you got twin tailpipes and the cross-country badging very neatly embossed, almost subtly down here. So looks rugged, looks a little bit more ready for action than the regular V40 does. And even though it has a station wagon sort of a look along the side, I think overall it has certain elements that should appeal to an Indian audience, especially a younger buyer.
The Cross Country is also 40 millimeters higher off the ground than the regular V40, and that added ground clearance will hold it in good stead in India for sure. The boot is not cavernous, but holds a generous 335 liters of cargo nevertheless. Inside, the Cross Country is extremely Scandinavian. Subtle palette meets practical layout. The central console is the now familiar floating style panel from other Volvos, with lots of buttons, and yes, you will find a hollow behind that panel. The buttons make access to all the functions a little bit easier than having to go through a one knob controls everything kind of dial. The seats are well finished and plush, and the cabin overall appears butch too, but very well built and premium. Space isn't great at the back, and three well-built Indians may find it a bit tight. But overall, it's the kind of plushness that you would expect from a premium offering. Now, let's drive it. First impression is a good one. The car with me today is the 177 bhp D4 variant. The range-topping variant is the T5 petrol, which is also the only one that has all-wheel drive. A massive 254 bhp as well, but it's not likely to be introduced in India. In India, we will get the 150 bhp D3, which uses the same engine block as the D4 but with reduced output. It's also the same engine that you get in the S60, the XC60 and the S80 in India. Of the three petrol variants on offer, we shall get the 180 bhp T4, which also promises to be fun, and you know what? I can't wait to drive it too.
Now there's a certain sporty character that comes through inside the cabin as well, not just in terms of the colors and the way everything's been laid out, but also the way the car feels. Now remember I said that the car has this impression of being a little compact and taut. Well, that actually helps on the drive side, because what it does is it gives you a little bit sportier performance. It gives you better control and a feel of something that's really responsive, as opposed to a regular station wagon, which is usually stretched and gives you the impression of being really long in the back. So yeah, I think that part is something that's going to appeal to buyers who want to drive the car themselves. What's not going to perhaps work is for people who want to sit at the back, because it does give the car a bit of a sporty character, as I said, and so the suspension settings seem a little bit taut, and people in the back may not really like that. The other thing that I do like is that youthful appeal. Well, it also comes through in the kind of instruments I'm seeing here. It's a virtual instrument cluster, pretty cool stuff, and the driving position, the seats, all of that I think lend themselves to a car that's going to be fun to drive, something a lot of Indian buyers might actually appreciate.
The lack of the all-wheel drive variant won't really hurt Volvo's prospects in my opinion. The car is agile and sporty as is, and very precise in its handling and steering too. The added ground clearance hasn't taken away ride quality, and I have to say it feels more fun than the Mercedes-Benz B-Class and the BMW X1, though the Audi Q3 will likely feel more exciting since that is an all-wheel drive with Quattro. The V40 Cross Country I drove had lots of goodies on board that included navigation, heated seats, both of which, by the way, came in really handy, especially in this frigid setting. The panoramic moonroof, love that. Park assist, radar and camera, well, the list is pretty endless. The car also has lots of safety equipment like all Volvos. Collision and blind spot warnings with adaptive cruise control, lane departure warning, multiple airbags with in fact even the optional pedestrian airbags too. And as I said, the list then really is endless. Volvo is likely to seek volumes, as I said, and so I expect the prices to stay below the BMW X1s. So finally, the premium market is within sniffing distance of the 20 lakh price barrier. What Volvo will need to do is quickly make good on its promise to open more dealerships and workshops and get cars on the road so people have a little bit more faith in the brand. This one's not an off-roader, it's not big and it's not bulky either. It doesn't have 3-row seating. But frankly, is that what most of you would really be looking for?
Welcome back to CNB. This is the CNB Viewers Choice Car of the Year 2013. Remember, the Hyundai Elantra. It also picked up a whole bunch of other awards at our awards night. But we're now also going to talk about another person who is driving home the CNB Viewers Choice Car of the Year. It is Arvind S. from Trivandrum, who, remember, was that lucky viewer who actually voted for this car and then also got the chance to drive it home. Bala was with him in his hometown and celebrating his new car.
The Viewers Choice Car of the Year award is the Hyundai Elantra.
Like every year, the CNB Viewers Choice Awards for both cars and bikes saw an overwhelming response, with viewers getting to vote for their favorite products of the year. And also, like every year, we had a winner in each category. And we don't mean just the car and bike, of course. The very lucky CNB viewer who turned winner in the car category is 26-year-old Arvind. A senior software engineer in a Thiruvananthapuram-based IT company. And here's the best part up until now. Arvind's ride has been a Hero Honda Splendor, but soon he will get to drive away in a brand new Hyundai Elantra. Arvind and his family arrived at the Pohins Hyundai showroom in Thiruvananthapuram, and Arvind can't seem to stop smiling as he walks over to pick up his keys.
And I'm pretty sure that Arvind and his family will have a good time riding this red beauty.
Arvind then gets a complete rundown of the features on board the Elantra, everything from its near fluidic design to its functions. He gets the mid-S variant of the 1.8-litre petrol variant of the mid-size sedan, which comes packed with most of the goodies from the top-end variant. A regular viewer of CNB for the past 6 years, Arvind says he had a tough time believing that he really was the winner in the Viewer's Choice category.
I thought it was a crank call. It was happy. Actually, I have been seeing, NDTV from when Siddharth initially started it. Not maybe the first show, maybe. Sure. When he was reviewing the Taveras and everything, old Taveras. From then, CNB have been the pioneer in starting this auto shows.
Sure.
And from then, I have been fan of Siddharth. And been watching him for more than 8 years, something like that.
So Arvind is all set to take his new Elantra for a ride. I think I'll give him company on his first ride.
Not an easy feat to drive out a big car like the Elantra, especially if it is your first car. But Arvind manages to do that just fine. Soon he was enjoying himself inside the luxurious cabin of the Elantra, and we can tell Arvind is already planning a long drive in this one very soon. He does shyly admit that it is the fluidic design on the Elantra that really appeals to him and says Hyundai should stick to this design for all of its cars.
What is it about the Elantra that you really like?
One thing is this is not something that I had in mind to buy or something like that. But yeah, it's there. I'm in it. Happy for it, and
What do you
I'm
like
trying to
about the
go.
car? What do you like about the car?
The size. It's very the styling. Actually, the styling is the new fluidic design by Hyundai is every bit good on every single product of it, even from Eon. From Eon, the design language itself speaks, isn't it? Everything has a flow to it.
A dream come true very early for Arvind, and we wish him and his family a safe and happy time with the Elantra. Many congratulations from CNB.
We wish Arvind all the very best with his new car, in fact him and his family, and lots of safe driving. Wish you that as well, and of course please send us your feedback. As always, I wait for that, and please wear your seatbelts or your helmets. I will see you on the show next week.